Hi, my name is Aletta Meijer. Some people on this channel may know me from my appearance in the documentary on narcissistic abuse. After producing the documentary, I've received many emails from people, and a lot of these emails contain questions. And I just thought, why not make a little video, do a little update, and just pick one subject. And today my subject is healing. So I'm not gonna say I know it all, because I'm just one of those people, but I think I may be able to inspire a little bit, or at least share with you what lessons that I've learned. And well, if I can help one person with this video, then my mission is accomplished. So I've just made a little list of things that I thought really worked for me and were absolute great lessons for me. So the first big lesson for me was knowing that my body can only heal when it feels safe. So whether it be the emotional side or the physical side, this one was a huge one for me, because I remember trying to heal myself while still being in that relationship. And it's like taking in poison every day and still hoping you get better. It just doesn't work. So the first thing is to actually get out of that situation, leave the narcissist. So once I left that man, I was still stuck with complex PTSD and ME. I was having flashbacks, panic attacks, and my stress levels were going through the roof. Not to mention my ex, who was doing a smear campaign behind my back. So I had to learn how to trust again, to learn how to cope with a body that has changed so much during that relationship, and to learn how to take care of myself on a different level. It was important for me to realize that the longer I had been in an unsafe situation, the longer it would take for me to get back to good health. There's no quick fix for trauma, and sometimes it was frustrating as I was working so hard on myself. It feels to me that I need to have enough good experiences again for my body to be convinced that it's different this time. And that's why I know it takes time. It takes for me to be conscious of my triggers, to learn how to deal with triggers, and to calm my own body down. And for that reprogramming to happen, I need to be patient. So the worst part about abuse or complex PTSD or whatever the case is the feeling that you are the only one going through it. So for a long time I felt like I was on this lonely island far away from the rest of the world. So part of my healing journey was to talk to people, to open up about my story, whether it in friendships or on forums, and finally producing that documentary. It is knowing you're not alone, knowing you're not weird or crazy, knowing you're not the only one suffering. We are all part of something bigger than us. It is so important to find the right people to talk to, because if you talk to people who don't know much about narcissism, they may tell you that it takes two to tango, or that you should just talk it out. And these people are unknowingly gaslighting you or pushing you back into that abusive situation. So talking to the people who actually know and understand what narcissistic abuse is so important and validating for you, because the first step to feel better is to get out of that confusing state. Another one that really helped me was meditation. I know meditation is a huge hype at the moment, but it has truly helped me. When you're in a situation like this chronically for most of your life, that means that your body has been tense like this. And we all know, like, the more stressed out and tense you get, like, the more easy it is for disease to pop up into your body. So knowing that stress kills the body and you can impossibly heal your body when you are in a situation of stress, that's why for me meditation worked tremendously. Even though I feel like I may have overdone it with 3 hours of meditation on a daily basis, I still think it was a really good thing to do, because at least I knew, like, 3 hours of my day, I'm not in that very high stress. For 3 hours a day, I'm putting my body into a situation of healing and rest and, recharging that battery. Everybody's talking about boundaries, but I never realized I had weak boundaries until I actually had strong boundaries. As a child, I was never taught boundaries, and coming from an abusive household, I grew up with a very high tolerance for abuse. So instead of developing good boundaries, I learned how to be a people pleaser, and I'm sure this is what has set me up for abuse later in life. So when I was in a relationship with a narcissist, I saw the similarities with the abuse I suffered as a child. And when I broke up, I promised myself to not enter a new relationship again until this pattern was broken and solved. And so I stayed single for 3 years. And those 3 years were extremely important for me because for once, I was not focusing on what a partner needed or how he was feeling. No, the focus was on me, what I needed for myself. And that's where I learned boundaries. And when I entered a new relationship, it felt a little bit like a trial and error at first, as sometimes I would fall back into the old pattern of people pleasing. I was afraid that he was going to dismiss my boundaries or use them against me like the narcissist did when I would stand up for myself. I mean, we're talking trauma here. But my new partner didn't. And having boundaries and being allowed to express them is what has made our relationship stable. We both know exactly what we need to be happy, and we respect each other's boundaries and feelings. It may sound like a strange one, but it's especially relevant for me it was for my ME and maybe for one of you guys who also suffer some health issues. When I was diagnosed with ME, basically everybody I talked to, with good intentions, they all had good intentions, they all had something to say about my illness. You need to do this therapy, or you need to do that, or this person I know was magically healed, or whatever the story is. And this is why the first few years of my ME diagnosis, I went from this therapy to another, and this diet to another, and even though they may have helped to some degree, all of them, they may have done something, but I was not getting better. And my gut feeling was basically screaming at me like, oh, I need a rest, come on, And when I started to listen to that, that's when I healed. And so that to me is, something that helped me very much in my healing process, is to tap into my own intuition. I had to really learn to trust my intuition. And also in a situation of narcissistic abuse, again, coming back to the subject, is when you've been into a situation of narcissistic abuse for a long time, you may have lost that deeper contact with yourself and your intuition. Because the first thing a narcissist will try to do, especially through gaslighting, for instance, is to break that bond with your intuition. And when you cannot trust your intuition or your own thoughts or your own feelings anymore, then the narcissist has so much more control over you. So the first thing that was for me that I found out after, doing all of these therapies is like, oh my God, no. I'm so used to listening to other people and to please other people. I need to listen to my gut feeling and do what my inner self tells me how to heal. Okay, the next thing I want to say is to just have as many happy times as possible. And I know that it may even sound a little bit mean just to say to a traumatized person, you just go have some happy times, huh? But I know how confused I was, and I know how hurt and traumatized I was coming out of this situation of narcissistic abuse. I was in the midst of a smear campaign and I had absolutely no idea how to trust. But one thing that I did realize at the time is I need a break. I need a break from this high anxiety in my body. And I was lucky enough to have some people around me who were new. I just made new friends, and it was quite exciting to be around new people, new energy, and I really felt that I had to find my happiness in small moments. So what I've done is I went into a different environment for 2 weeks. I found these friends. I talked to my friends, and even though I knew they did not understand me on a deeper level, they were still listening and understanding to a degree. And to me, it made me feel validated, and that was really important, just to talk to people. And spending time with my son, spending time in nature, it's all of those little things combined that for me, every time it was like giving myself this little break out of that trauma. So why I'm saying this about happy times is, one, because it really saved me at that time, and two is because you need to build yourself up, and the best way to build yourself up and your self-confidence is to actually do something that strengthens your system and your self-esteem and your self-worth. Like, yes, I can have a good time. This is me. I feel myself again. That is so important after you've gone through this. Okay, so as survivors of narcissists, we all know how important this one is, because we all know how draining it can be to be around a narcissist. They just literally suck the life out of you. So it is really good to realize what type of people are good for you and what type of people are not. And to me, the people who are right for me are the people who make me feel good on the inside. So that means the people who I can laugh with, but can talk with, and they accept me for who I am, and I can be myself around regardless of how I feel. Because how good is a friend if you are only supposed to have happy times with them, and you can't say how you really feel? Or why do some people make you feel drained? Or why do you always feel energized after seeing that one person? These are questions I had to ask myself. And when you really connect to your inner self, you know exactly what people make you feel good. And I have to comment on this. We all go through bad phases sometimes. So everybody can be draining at times. But there's a huge difference in people whose energy is like chronically draining, or people who have like a temporary situation going on and can be draining just for a moment. You know, this is a really important distinction to make. But I say this for the people who are like chronically draining to you. Well, at least for me, this was my lesson, to just not have those people in my life, because I had to prioritize myself. I needed my energy, so anybody who was just basically stealing my energy away was not good for me. Because I had still have to a degree, ME, I was forced to be alone a lot. But looking back, it was really, well, it feels a bit strange to say, because I find it very hard at times to have ME. It's not easy, but it also has it has taught me such valuable lessons. And this alone time that I've had because of my ME has changed me in such a way that I now know what is good for me. I now know my triggers. I know what takes my energy from me. And what I do usually is I write in my diary, I reflect, I talk to myself, I go for walks if I can. And I ask myself these questions, like, what is important for me? What type of people are important for me? When do I get energy? When do I lose energy? When do I get overwhelmed, and why do I get overwhelmed? And these questions are really, really important in my healing process. These are like basic questions that I just need to know, because otherwise I just keep falling into the same traps. Oh shit, I'm overwhelmed. It's like I have to know what overwhelms me and what gives me energy. So that's what alone time has given me, like a lot of like inner research. And then another big thing for me is like I had to come off my screen time, because it's quite easy to say, okay, I spent my evening alone when you've just been watching Netflix. I had to literally come off everything. No phones, no TV, just me, myself and I. And those are the times that I learned the most. And to me, especially being overwhelmed so quickly, it's just very valuable time just to recharge that battery, especially when you're in nature. It's like you recharge that battery, and yeah, that's another thing that helped me a lot. Sometimes I say, you know, even though I hate what happened in that relationship, in a way, I'm grateful for the lessons I've learned there, because I needed to go through the process and through all the pain just to understand and basically like reprogram myself as well. I had to understand what was going on to know and to understand how to do it better the next time. So all I want to say basically with this is just be patient and celebrate every little thing. Every little milestone, you know, like, oh my God, I've learned this lesson. Oh my God, I can do this better now, you know. Oh my God, I feel much safer. This is what I'm trying to do. Just celebrate those little moments and celebrate every step up, because my health is doing better and better and better every time. And so I know my healing process, it is working. It just takes time. So basically, don't give up.